Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
I like to move it. I like to move it. You'd like to move it. You'd like to groove it.
So, this is the next tutorial. It's about the new AI and movement thingies. So, let's see. On this little experimental cyber orc unit, which where I try to have the controls shown you. So, let's see. So, as you can see, we have this unit. This was my first experimental one about the movement and the AI, and it has solely daddy blade control, daddy blade movement parts. So these are for roll, those are for the pitch. On the side they are turning daddy blades, and all of them will keep it afloat. So let's see if we go inside some of these daddy blades. I assigned just one motor drive, but it could manage without this. The spin rate control tab. So as soon as you place down a daddy blade, in the spin rate it will show you what it could achieve in the field of movement. So you can see these are grayed out because this daddy blade couldn't turn the unit because it's upright, and it couldn't do pitch because it's around the middle of the unit near to the mass point. So it automatically gets assigned as all kinds of movement blocks like propellers, jets, ion drives, daddy blades, etc. If you place one down, it tries to automatically assign its role. So another thing you need to know about this tab, that grayed out options cannot be used. You don't want to use them because if you set this up for a turner movement component, it couldn't turn the unit really. And the other thing is it now just pushes the unit up and it can be used for rolling. So if I do this, then it will be the roll right, because when it goes this way, it raises the left side of the unit, so it rolls to the right. And these colors are indicators. Do you use them fine or use them badly? For example, if I set this up to roll to the left, it will be red. It tells you, no, you don't want this daddy blade to used for rolling left because it's totally in the opposite direction. It will fight the other controls. Another thing is these percentage chances. So when you set this up to 1, then it will be fully used for that kind of movement. That kind of movement like roll, pitch, turn, or simply push the unit. And it means, because this was my first experimental unit, as you can see, it automatically set up, for example, this to roll right and up. 2. And it results in this jerky movement because it tries to use it for lifting force. At the same time, it tries to use it fully to rolling right the unit. And because of it, it couldn't decide how much of this force it needs to rolling right and lifting the unit up. If I look into this one, if I can target it, please let me do it. Oh, please is the magic word. You can see it's pusher and jaw left, because pushing means strafing, when the unit without turning goes to the right or the left. So it can strafe and it can turn to the left by this propeller, and everything is green, so we are alright in this case. There is another unit which more stable, and there are played with this percentages more. So what kind of percentage it should use to pitching, rolling and lifting the unit. So that's why that is so stable. But I like this jerky movement. Anyways, this is the first experiment only. So for example, these ones are used for pushing the unit back, because they set to reverse, they are pointing backwards. And of course, this is an extremely useful key. I have this key to the left, two to the left from the X key, and you can see all the forces to the units. For example, this picture one goes up and down to retain its pitch, and all the others just jerking around. But with this display, you can see if everything is working alright or not. But now I will switch it off, get back to this, and show you the other important part, the new AI. So, it is an old thing. You can see the detection power and the detection power need here. But if you queue inside this little AI unit, it will show you the behaviors, adjustments, maneuver, additional, PID, and basic settings. And I should mention, if you have an older unit, you just press this, and all the movement components will be auto-assigned, just like if you just place them like this and it gets auto-assigned. So this button here in the AI makes that possible, and also it can add and remove different kinds of movement. You just press these buttons and that's fine. And there is another possibility, of course. When you go inside the AI setting via C key, you can press this, and is the same one. No more you need to find your AI in your old units and seek it to set these movements upright. Or wrong, if you please, of course. The new components, we have all the old components, you know, here. So in AI, we have these pre-configured cards, but these are not really needed. Just the same way we use, just a moment, I usually forget the exact name. So, just as we use for detection these general purpose processing cards, we use now these behavior additional routine cards. So, the more you have here, the more you can, more kinds of movements you can set up in the AI. Just the same like detection as I shown before, and these cards just connect to the AI card slot as usual. Alright, let's look into the settings of the AI. So, these tabs, additional, have some usage, it is not advised to use thruster balancing. I just read about it and never experimented with it. You can add sailing movement, water start via those little balloons we usually do. Again, sailing. I never use this. And projectile avoidance, which I've experimented a little bit, but it's looking so simple that it's beneath me to try it more. Except we have this thing here, and I can link it to, for example, strafe right and left. So I think this is only useful against missiles. I don't really know sure, and I welcome any other additions below the comments, or if you link your own tutorials about this under my video. I won't be angry because we need information and not YouTube money. And it has some fake missiles for testing. It sounds interesting. You can do this if you just put in the kind of PIDs we can find in the AI tab here. So these are need to be connected to the AI via AI connectors or wireless things. I just connected them here at the back of the unit. So I just connected them, placed down, nothing more I did with them. And here I just assign them enabled. And they work. That's simple. Of course, you can use your adjustments here if you need them so, but they are not really needed, only if you want to fine-tune these PIDs. Alright. So we got the additional movement kinds of things here. Here is the maneuver. And maneuvers say how do your units mainly move. For example, if you set them to patrol somewhere, go somewhere, they will move via this way. And of course, more maneuvers you set up, the more kind of maneuvers they can have. I use here only the simple hover movement. I'm not sure of these things, only that I needed to increase this because this is a pointer type, a forward broadsiding type of movement this unit has. Sorry for the Yodaism on my arrangement of the words. And the whole body of this unit is pointed toward the enemy. And I don't want to disable movement. It means something like if the enemy is here and my unit's here, and it points down here, just like this way, its little body, then it will disable forward and strafe movement if the degree of pointing is bigger than this, or something like that. But it simply works just like Fallout 76. Alright, the next tab is adjustments. Adjustment means, in theory, I really didn't test it thoroughly, that your units won't collide anymore. You can set up minimum altitudes, maximum altitudes, and it automatically should arrange the no collision with enemies or friendlies or all vehicles as you wish. So there is no need to set up different altitudes in your aerial units not to collide with one another. You can set it to air, to prevent air collision, land collision, water collision, or you want to collide or just gather data for collision avoidance. It means that, sorry, no type, but please try to avoid the enemy. Okay? And the behavior is not really movement, so this means how your unit goes from this point to this point. And this means in this movement you set up, so shape, area, plane, etc., that how it should execute that kind of movement. And it has tank broadside, aerial bombing, resource gathering, naval, ram, broadside, pointed, I'm using this, circled enemy, and bombing run. Bombing run is interesting because the plane goes at its attack height and began to dive, losing the bombs, and then it goes up again. So it's almost like that old Lua AI modification we could cut and paste from the forums before, but now it's easier to use. And this pointing distance is the combat distance, and combat altitude is the same for me, and the maximum pitch is 60 degrees. Really, if these values are kept, I only need 45 degree maximum pitch, but I set it to 60 because when I switch another unit automatically and attack that, it's simpler just to get more pitch than my unit going away, turning around, and then pointing at the enemy. So that's it. I think it's a really easy one, but luckily, because we have all the original movements, it seems to be using the old AIs, the AIs in the old units set up. They are working, seem to be working alright, because they have the comparable old AI cards into. Alright. So we went over these steps, and now I should move over my third experimental unit, this little one here. Okay, it's more bigger. I just put in here some simple advanced cannons, some missiles and torpedoes, small missiles, medium torpedoes, and all the structure. I tried it to make a little bit nicer. It's not so, but not so ugly as my flying bricks are usually. So here we have a different setup, not so different, but it's enough to provide a different approach. In the middle of the unit, almost exactly above the mass point, we have these daddy blades. I set them always up because they are the height, the altitude set up. So they could be set 100% up movement. As you can see, it's green, so it's alright. In the back and in the front, I have the pitcher set up, which could be set up 2 to 100%, this pitch down, and in the nose there is pitch up. And I don't use this for partial preset, so it's not, there is no confusion for the AI to either use it for pitching or use it for lifting the unit up. No, it's only a pitcher preset. Oh, and I removed the other one from the nose. Alright, because the nose is vulnerable. And on the sides I have the roller ones. They are not moving right now, but you can see it. And I set them up purely to roll left. I could do that I add the pusher preset. Here you can see that you can add by left clicking, and it deletes all the other things then. and you can add by a right click, which adds. And now it uses this for lifting and rolling left too. And you can set it up that way that, for example, like this. And now there is no confusion too, because it uses 75% for rolling and 25% of its wall capacity for lifting the unit up. So you can use these percentages, they are really just percentages, for sharing the different kinds of movement, turning, rolling, I told you about before. Alright, and now just one more thing remains, AI, and as you can see here, I have two different kinds of behaviors here. One of them is the pointer, like the first unit, and the other is resource gathering. And this results my unit going to the nearest resource zone and just mine. I set it back to this and show you the settings, what is different. We have two behaviors. So as I told you before, its main moving thing is just hover movement, but two different behaviors. Do I like to point it at the nearest enemy and maintain distance, or I could use it for resource gathering, and these different behaviors can be easily set up here. So that's it. That is the movement tutorial, and I don't think it's I think it's easy, it's not hard, after you know this kind of things. Alright, everything set up right. Let's see the marauder pit count. And as you can see, they are pointing at the enemy that is moving back because it maintains distance. And this little one just tried to point the enemy at the right distance and kill it that way. So this way I don't really need any turrets. My weapons could be fixed in the nose. And there is no problem, because if I always pointing at the enemy, you can see that this unit is not straight but tilted a bit forward. I don't need turrets, I just need some fish guns with small mantlets, and they can kill that way the enemy. So I like these modifications after experimenting. Alright, so this was the usual funny tutorial from me, and I hope you will understand, enjoy and incorporate its knowledge into your builds too. It was Norma69, and bye bye.